It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so I wanted to discuss South Florida's very own and Puerto Rico's very own Xander Zayas, because he had a real good performance this past weekend. He was co-main event on the Robeisy Ramirez versus Rafael Espinosa undercard here in South Florida. And he scored a fifth-round stoppage over the Spaniard Jorge Fortea. Now, that's about pretty much how I thought the fight would go. Fortea, like I always say, man, there's some fights you can look at in boxing, and sometimes they're exactly like they look like on paper. And this was one of those fights where it went exactly how it looked on paper. Fortea, veteran fighter, been in there with some names like, Anthony Fowler and Bakram Murtalatsev and guys like that. But a light puncher, likes to move around a lot. I just didn't think he was going to have the firepower to keep Xander off. And I didn't think he had the level of boxing acumen to outbox Xander Zayas. Just being honest, right? So Xander in the fight pretty much broke him down, showed a good volume jab, a lot of steady diet of body punches, and ultimately wound up stopping him in the fifth round, right? So he moves to 18-0, and he sits pretty at number 2 in the WBO 154-pound rankings. But at the same time, while he's that high in the rankings, Xander Zayas is still only 21 years old. So the question becomes, when does Xander Zayas truly step it up to, the fight, like maybe like the number 1 contender like a Josh Kelly, or maybe Tim Tszyu for a world title or something like that, It's a very, very interesting scenario for him, because he turned pro so young. He's had so many fights. It feels like he's old. He's older than he actually is, because we've been seeing him from the beginning. But the reality is he only has 71 rounds boxed in his career. That's not a lot of rounds for a guy at that level. And after the fight, and I want to highlight this and talk about this. After the fight, Xander wound up calling out. Let me turn this off. I don't like how this looks. Xander wound up calling out the Brazilian, Patrick Teixeira. And we all know Patrick Teixeira. He's been around the block for a long time. Fought some big names like Carlos Adames and Curtis Stevens. Good southpaw. A little bit on the older side now, Patrick Teixeira. Right now he's 33 years old. But Xander Zayas, after the fight, said, "Patrick Teixeira, you're next." And he said it real stern and whatnot, right? So as far as that fight, Patrick Teixeira is experienced. Patrick Teixeira has boxed double the rounds of Xander. He's got 33 wins in his pro career. Southpaw, he's definitely not feather-fisted. He's got a 72% KO ratio. I like the fight because it's definitely a different type of style. Tall southpaw, guy who's real experienced. That fight for Patrick Teixeira might be his last crack at like a big time fight. So I like the fight for both men. But I gotta say it like this, man. And listen, I got all the love, I got all the adoration, I got all the respect in the world for Peter Khan. So far be it for me to tell Peter Khan how to be a boxing manager, because he's one of the best in the business. But speaking as a boxing fan, I would like to see Xander fight. If he gets past Patrick Teixeira, I would like to see Xander fight Josh Kelly, right? Because at some point you can't be ranked that highly and keep fighting, guys that you're supposed to just blow through. At some point, you're gonna have to step it up and show and validate that hype to the world. And Patrick Teixeira isn't quite that fight for me. I think it's a good fight. I think it's a good name to have on the resume. I think it's good for his experience level. But Josh Kelly's the number 1 contender. I like that fight. Tim Tszyu's the champion. Listen, if you're that high, gotta go for the champion at some point, right? So we'll see how it goes. I know Peter Khan is very focused on Xander's development and things like that. But some point in time you gotta step him up. Because you can't just solely rely on him being Puerto Rican to carry him as far as being a promotional star forever. He's going to have to show that he is the goods. And listen, so far in his career, every test, everything that's been put up for Xander Zayas' path, he's passed those tests with flying colors. There's been no controversy. There's been no fights where, he's been in trouble where he's going to get knocked out. Yeah, he's been buzzed a little bit. Yeah, he's been hit a little bit. But it's a contact sport, so that happens. So as far as him and Teixeira, stylistically, Teixeira's a tall southpaw. can box, moves pretty well. But look, let's just call a spade a spade. Teixeira has not had a legit, like, good victory against, name opposition since he beat Carlos Adames in November 2019. So we're talking about 4 years. So it really looks like Xander should be beating him every day of the week and twice on Sunday. He's going to throw some jabs. He's going to throw, a left hand. He might even mix in a couple uppercuts, but Xander has a real good compact style, great left hook to the body. He's developing slowly but surely into that boxer puncher that Peter Khan is hoping and saying that he's going to be. So, yeah, I like the fight. I just really think, and look, if we're not talking about Josh Kelly next, who's the #1 contender, okay, then that's fair. Let me see. Let's go on BoxRec. If he's not fighting like after Teixeira, right? Because at some point, you got to step up and you got to validate this hype. And I like Xander. He's one of South Florida's very own. Even though he corrects me immediately. He's like, yeah, South Florida's cool, but it's all about Puerto Rico. So we'll see how it goes. But just looking at the rankings, right now, Xander's 27th on BoxRec. Okay, I see some names like Brandon Cook, Callum Walsh. I'll tell you this, man. I know Callum Walsh. What's his record right now? Callum Walsh 9-0. So maybe they don't make that fight. But if they could make that fight at some point, Callum Walsh versus Xander Zayas, Puerto Rico versus Ireland at the Madison Square Garden, in the theater, all right? Or even, even in the arena, because, Puerto Rico, Ireland, Puerto Rican Day weekend, be a big event. I think that could actually be a big fight for Xander in his career at some point. But yeah, at some point he's got to really, really step it up because I'll be honest with you, man. Like, if he's really the goods, he'll be able to win a world title before he's 23 years old. That's kind of how I feel about Xander. Like, if he's really the goods before he's 23 or when he's 23, he should be winning a world title. I don't want to see no more Jorge Fortea. I don't want to see no more Elias Espadas. Those are good fights for the stage he was at. They've served their purpose, but now with him fighting, you figure he's gonna fight Teixeira. If that goes 7 or 8 rounds, 9 rounds, then he's gonna be at over 80 rounds boxed in his career. If he does another 10 or 12 rounder, it's very likely that by the middle of 2024, Xander will be somewhere around 90 rounds boxed as a professional fighter. And I feel like that's enough rounds where you can say, okay, you step him up to fight someone, that's a legitimate top guy. It don't necessarily got to be Tim Tszyu or Josh Kelly. I just think those are the most realistic options. But, Callum Walsh, who's a good fighter, even like Callum Walsh, Michael Soro, even a Dennis Hogan, who I know Peter Khan, I don't know if he still manages him, but Dennis Hogan, Kyle Minogue Jarko, that could be another fight, another Irish guy that you could use for New York. I mean, there's options out there for Xander, and I just hope 2024 is finally the year where, okay, you've had your development, you've done your thing, step him up, because if he's the goods, he will win a world title by the time he's 23. And if he's not quite the goods, then he'll have to go back to the drawing board and improve and do his thing. And he can come back better. It's no, loss ain't a death sentence in boxing, but I'm sure Peter Khan has a plan. But I'm just telling you what I as a boxing fan would like to see in 2023. So let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about this Xander Zayas versus Patrick Teixeira fight? They're saying he called him out. That's his next fight, more than likely. I think I was reading earlier that it's gonna be on the same card as Venado Lopez and Rhea Abbey. Otabek Komatov versus Raymond Ford. That whole card in Verona, New York, he's supposed to be on that card against Patrick Teixeira. So, even another reason to go to New York for that fight, to upstate New York for that fight, because Xander's on the card. So, let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about this whole ordeal with Teixeira? What do you guys think about Xander's development? And who do you want to see him fight in 2024? Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this video, click right here and make sure you subscribe. Much love from sunny South Florida.